This time round, I'm delighted that we're joined by Phil Campbell and Brian Reynolds, co-authors of this amazing book, Running Scared, the inside story of life as a runner at Hammer Films in the late 1960s and early 1970s. It's packed with loads of great stories, anecdotes, photographs and memorabilia from that time. It's a real slice of British film history. So without any further ado, here's Brian Reynolds and Phil Campbell. Brian, Phil, thank you ever so much for doing the interview. You were runners. You've written this great book, Running Scared, available to buy at conventions, online, eBay, all sorts of places.
Facebook page as well. Hammer Runners Facebook page.
Okay, I understand there's going to be plugging. Let's plug as much or as little as we can. But first of all, what does a runner do? What did a runner do in 1969 when you guys were runners for Hammer Films?
There was your scheduled things that you did, like the call sheets in the evening. But during the day, it was, Ingrid Pitt wanted her tiara repainted.
As you do.
So I had to rush that over to the paint shop. Would they please, as quickly as possible? And we had to say in the nicest possible terms, can you do it quickly, but not like that? And they did. And it's little things like that, and run it back. Ready for shooting. Ingrid's ready to go on the set.
You're the oil that kept the wheels turning.
We were general dog's bodies, really. You had to do whatever you were required. You were required to be in the production office to help the production secretary get call sheets out, schedules, unit lists, etc. Pink pages, all the changes in dialogue when the script had to be typed out, duplicated, given to the members of cast and crew. So you were in demand from the production office. Then you were in demand from the assistant directors on set because they'd require things. Somebody wants a packet of cigarettes, you'd have to go and get that. I can remember on the buses, mutiny on the buses, Bob Todd suddenly wanted something. He was only in for one day, Bob Todd. And most people want cigarettes or chocolate, something like that. With Bob Todd, he wanted 4 cans of lager, so I had to rush off down to off licence and get 4 cans of lager, things like that. So you were in demand for those people, and then you were basically could be in demand from producers as well. The producer secretary want things done. So although we spent some great time on set when we could, watching things being shot and rehearsed, and if the red light went on, then you were all right. You were stuck on the set for maybe five minutes watching things being shot. The moment you came off, we had the producers and the production secretary saying, where have you been? What have you been doing? You need to be doing this. And we were running back here, running there, running everywhere.
The name runner is quite appropriate because you really are running left, right and centre.
Hammer Films had their money out of me because we were shooting Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde at Elstree, right. Which I was the runner on, alongside On the Buses. Shooting simultaneously, and I was
very different films.
Two productions, so they all had running all over the studio.
And I guess the role is very similar to the role today. We still have runners.
Probably,
I think so. Yes, I mean they do the same
thing. The runners are doing the same thing.
They have to still get call sheets out. They still have to pick things from the set backwards and forwards, whether it's cigarettes or whatever. I don't know. But
I had to be available at 2:00 every day on the Vampire Lovers to take Roybal Bakery's cup of lemon tea on the set.
Oh, quite right too. Yeah, bless. So what prompted you to write the book? I mean, loads of great stories. I've read the book. It's fantastic.
We suddenly realised, after started getting invited to things like On the Buses, which we both worked on, and other productions, we suddenly realised we had a story here. 6 years for me with Hammer, and Phil 5, and all these 10, 12 productions between us that we worked on. And we had a lot to tell. And meeting the publisher, who liked the idea, and I must say that Phil does take most of the credit for this book because he'd done sort of the hard work.
Well, I kept diaries.
The spelling, Brian.
We collaborated. It's a good collaboration.
I had to get a lot of things out of Brian's head. Fortunately, I kept diaries, which weren't terribly useful, but at least they broke down when I was working down the studio. And I started working down the studio on Horror of Frankenstein, etc., and met these people. And with Scars of Dracula, I said, worked on Scars of Dracula. Spoke to Christopher Lee today. But didn't say what we talked about. It was the diaries didn't have much space, so they were useful to document certain things. But the rest we had to remember. Plus, we had a lot of photographs and call sheets we could use as references, and scripts. I had a few scripts that are now gone, but we managed to use memories, documented evidence. Our publisher was very good because he knew so much about Hammer anyway. So when I was checking him with certain dates and certain situations, he said, "No, that didn't happen then." I went check back. Oh no, you're right. That person wasn't around then. And just the fun of it all, because the whole point was I've written very much as if we were still there. We were still 17, 18, experiencing the things and experiencing all the girls, because we had a lot of contact with all the Hammer girls, Karen Monroe, Ingrid Pitt.
That came across quite a bit in the book, actually, I have to say.
Funny that, really, isn't it? They were like our big sisters, weren't they?
They were lovely, all of them. Great to work with.
Lovely to work with, yes. Made a great impression upon us.
You must have some amazing sisters, if that's... okay, understood. And we're meeting some of those in the documentary.
Yes, of course.
Valerie Leon, Madeline Smith, Jenny Hanley, all taking part, which are all former Hammer stars.
And also, it's a book from a different angle. You know, there's books about Peter Cushing, about Chris Lee, about Hammer films. And this, what did one reviewer call it? Like a fanzine?
Well, it is.
Type.
In many ways.
From the studio floor almost.
Yes.
And from the inside Hammer House.
Yeah.
And I said, we've got a story here that I think people are interested in, and we knew there was interest there.
Yes.
We were lucky enough to meet Wayne Kinsey, publisher, who liked the idea as well.
And so it's just a question of chronologically sitting down, writing all the bits and pieces, remembering what we could, getting lots of pictures together. Loads and loads of pictures in here of Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee,
show us
and
a few
the
more
girls.
pictures, just grab a few.
Reg Varney.
On the buses.
On the buses.
Me when I was 17.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I don't want to see that, Brian. That could put people off. Lots of shots of girls, of course. And generally all the things that happened on and off the set. And, of course, at Hammer House, because working up in Wardour Street like we did, our time was split between Wardour Street and down at Elstree. There's the things with Sir James Career as the boss, and all the things that went on in the offices up there, which people don't know about.
My
really
absolute favourite tale, of course, with Ingrid Pitt, when the end of shoot party on the Vampire Lovers, and I'd cashed a cheque for her, studio cashiers, and I went back to the set with this money, and she's on the set with this very figure-hugging black gown, low cut, bottle of champagne in each hand, no pockets. So I've got this, you'll have to put it down there. So down her cleavage, this £10 or whatever it was went. And that was the most memorable part of being a runner. But Ingrid Pitt was lovely. It was great. And we had a laugh over that, yeah.
Oh, there's your tiara story. Yes.
She's gorgeous. I mean, we
fabulous lady.
We were recording the interview for a documentary about Peter Cushing, which you guys were really keen and delighted to take part in, which is amazing, and thank you. But
welcome. What
was it about Peter that made him so special, and made you say, we'd want to be a part of that documentary, because we were all fans of Peter, and this is great, we want to be a part of that. What was it about Peter that was really important for you?
He was one of the number one Hammer guys, wasn't he?
He was, yes. Him and Christopher Lee were both number one.
And he was such a gentleman as well. Yeah. So
he was a really nice person to work with. He was very friendly, very very approachable. But I enjoyed watching his professionalism, if you like, with the way he could suddenly do the take, burst into action, get all the lines, action right, and then sit down again. Because by the time Brian and I saw him, of course, he was towards not at the end of his career, but he'd done a lot of films, and he'd done Frankenstein many, many times, and he'd done the Dracula movies quite a lot. So he was getting on a bit, but he was still remarkably agile when it came to shouting action. He would burst into action with a burst of adrenaline and deliver the lines, do the action, and then sit down again and go back to reading his script, whatever, which was amazing to watch, wasn't it?
He's as much as part of Hammer films as Hammer itself.
Yeah,
really. And we're privileged to have been able to see him, work with him and know him.
Yeah, very true.
Wonderful. Brian and Phil, thank you ever so much for taking part.
Thank you.
And
You're
thank you
very
for being
welcome. Yeah, it's been lovely.
Thanks, guys.
Really
Appreciate
great.
it.
Thank you very much.